Go.
We've got breaking news, and this is just out of Canada. An investigation into the death of activist Regan Russell. I'm going to show you her photo right now so you can see who we are talking about. 65-year-old Regan Russell. She was a longtime activist who protested at the slaughterhouse outside Toronto in Canada. She was run over on June 19th by a truck carrying pigs into the slaughterhouse. This is the location of the incident. There you see the Save Movement founder, Anita Krajnc, looking at a similar type of truck carrying pigs to their deaths. Well, this woman, 65 years old, a hero in the movement, was run over and killed, and police began investigating. Here's some of the people who attend these vigils regularly. Some of them may have been there at the time. There were people protesting along with Regan at the time. I can tell you right now that the investigation has concluded, and this is right from the police issuing a news release. A comprehensive investigation has been conducted by the Police Collision Reconstruction Unit. This investigation included the interview of several witnesses, analysis of physical evidence, and a technical reconstruction of the collision. In addition, video footage that captured the entirety of the incident was reviewed by investigators. Upon conclusion of the investigation, a 28-year-old male from the municipality of North Perth has been charged with careless driving causing death under the Highway Traffic Act and will be required to appear in court. Now, this is another really important sentence. There were no grounds to indicate this was an intentional act or that a criminal offense has been committed. This is something that has really upset a lot of people who are activists who knew and love Regan Russell. Ray Kowalczyk, you are a Jane Unchained contributor based in Canada. You raced to the scene that day. What is your reaction to what the police have concluded?
Well, it's a very personal reaction because I have been part of the Save Movement in Toronto, and I've stood where Regan stood many times. In fact, that was one of the roles that I quite commonly took when bearing witness in Burlington. And I've had a lot of conversations about safe practices of managing the conduct and trying to control the environment, control the speed at which things are happening. And I'm involved in all the Toronto safe chapters, and that one in Burlington is by far the hardest one to manage because it's a bit like the Wild West. The truck drivers are coming from all over. They don't necessarily have the attention of the company itself. A lot of other places they have a relationship between the truck drivers and the plant, so they're able to make a safe space for activists. And that has always been a struggle in Burlington, and so many conversations with the police and trying to get them involved with the process, partially because we want to make it obvious to everybody that's watching, either driving by in Burlington or on social media, that what we're doing is a totally legal public protest. Having the police on site watching has always been a benefit for that kind of a scenario. But quite often the police are standing back, and I've quite often tried to get them to come closer and stand right on the corner so that the truck drivers themselves can see and behave accordingly. And it sends the message to the truck drivers that what we're doing is legal, and emphasizes that space, that crosswalk. And that's essentially where we are when we're blocking traffic, is on a crosswalk, places where people are walking.
To me, what you're saying is she had every right to be there. It was her right as a citizen, as a taxpayer, to express herself and express her rights as a person, to say, I object to this, but also to comfort the pigs, to hold a sign. She was a constant presence there. But the way it ended up is she was killed. She ended up being run over. And I know, for example, at the Save movements here in Los Angeles, right outside downtown, the police and the activists have a tremendous cooperation. In fact, some of the police have gone vegan, seeing the pigs come through. They have a great rapport. They're very respectful of us. We're very respectful of them. And it's really handled very beautifully. And what you're saying is it's not handled that way there. And now we have this result. I want to read a statement from the Save movement founded by Anita Krajnc. And there's a lot of upset over this police conclusion. And here's what she said. And the Animal Save Movement said, Animal Save Movement today condemned the Halton Regional Police Service for bringing charges of careless driving causing death against the driver of a pig transport truck in the June 19th death of Regan Russell. Russell was attending a special Toronto Pig Save vigil to protest Ontario's passage of the unconstitutional ag-gag Bill 156 just 2 days prior, and had been giving water to dehydrated pigs on one of the hottest days of the year. Again, we're talking about this woman, Regan Russell, 65 years old, very much beloved in the community, heroic, having saved the lives of other protesters in other protests, and she was run over and killed. So the Save movement says these charges are feeble and do not amount to justice for Regan. Enough is enough. How many more lives will be lost at the hands of Sofina and Fearmans? That's the slaughterhouse operation, and they're invited on anytime to Jane Unchained. We would love to get their response and dialogue with them. How many more lives will be lost before they agree to safety policy? That's exactly what you were talking about. This is what Anita Krajnc, co-founder of the Animal Save Movement, said. They've rejected these calls far too long and have Regan's blood on their hands. We will not rest until Bill 156 is repealed. Now, this is a very important thing. There is video footage. Police even made a reference to that and said that there was video footage that captured the entirety of the incident. Well, the Save movement is demanding the release of the video footage obtained by police that shows the incident so it can be independently reviewed. So this death of Regan has sparked protests around the world, but here's just a brief glimpse at one of the recent protests held just the other day.
Hello everybody, this is Cesar Acevedo reporting live for Jane Unchained. We are at the Canadian consulate with all these activists out here for Regan Russell. Stop Bill 156 in Canada, the ag-gag law, and all these amazing activists are out here. They're all lined up all the way down. Let's try to get a couple words.
She was an amazing activist, and we're just trying to replicate her desire to eventually end the slaughterhouses.
All right, so Bill 156, Ray, you're in Canada. Again, you're a Jane Unchained contributor, and we were actually both on live on another video when word came down that she had been run over, and you dropped everything, jumped in your car, and drove immediately to the scene where people were crying, where there were spontaneous vigils, very, very emotional, as Regan Russell was a fixture there and also one of the leaders in Canada's animal rights movement, and just a wonderful person who everybody loved. What is your reaction to the fact that all this happened 2 days after this infamous, notorious Bill 156 was passed? What does Bill 156 do?
Bill 156 is we call it an ag-gag law because it's designed to muffle any voice that would speak out against the industry, and it's essentially to protect their interests, and in other words, their ability to generate profit. And the idea that their profit is linked to hiding their activity should be a concern to, not just to the vegan community, to the community that is consuming the products that come out of these places. There's so much, pride that we encounter of farm to fork and knowing where your food comes from. This bill is just astonishing to me because I've been following the ag-gag laws in the United States. Will Potter has written a great book about it. But it's something that I assumed never would happen in Canada. And although I have been involved in a lot of the fighting for updating outdated laws in Canada, we have some of the most out-of-date animal protection laws in the world. But this is a new law. I understand updating laws and fighting this outdated systems. But this is a new law that they've instituted. And the only thing I can conclude is that the meat industry is extremely frightened for its future. That they have decided that they have to stop the Save movement from bearing witness to the animals going into the slaughterhouse, because in this age of information, the truth is right there at the end of a cell phone camera. It was so profound to me. I hadn't been to a vigil in a while, so when I arrived at the scene where Regan died, and I mean, it was a tough assignment. Nobody really wanted to talk. Everybody was trying to commiserate with each other and social distance at the same time. It was just like the perfect storm of awful happening. But there was a sign on the fence that said no cell phone footage. And this really works into this concept that we need to get this footage to show what really happened there at this scene, where there's now a sign that says no cell phone footage, no truth, no recording anything that is happening here. There's just something so profound about that just a week after this law was passed, we have this incident where somebody lost their life, and it's something that we've been doing for years and hoping that it would never happen. But now it's a question of when is it going to happen again?
Well, let me ask you this. In the immediate aftermath of Regan Russell's death, major news media in Canada showed up at the scene. Of course, Anita Krajnc, the founder of the Save movement, raced there. All these folks who protest and held vigil regularly were there. These are some of them. And the media showed up. Regan Russell's family, her parents, her partner were there. What's the media coverage been since then? Have they stayed on this story? Have they expanded it from just the tragic, well, it's not just, but from the tragic death of one hero to the deaths of billions of animals unnecessarily, and not just the death, but the cruel treatment of them?
Yeah, it's very tough for the mainstream media to really maintain a focus. They're interested in death. They're interested in blood. If it bleeds, it leads. And then as soon as there's protests where activists are behaving peacefully yet meaningfully, they feel that it's not worthy of coverage, or they would prefer not to cover it because it's not saying the story that they want, that there's some sort of violence happening, that there's some sort of sensational thing to cover. And the same thing's happening with the Black Lives Matter movement. As soon as there's no destruction of property, the mainstream media just tunes out and realizes that any further reporting on it is not working in their favor. That's not working to spread these important messages and make the activism effective.
You're absolutely right. And I could say, having been in mainstream media for 38 years, you just hit the nail on the head. In fact, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals has 19 lawyers and holds informed, intelligent, highly detailed news conferences. The media doesn't show up, talking about things from factory farming to the unnecessary experimentation of animals in laboratories, Freedom of Information Act requests. Then they do something outlandish in order to get the media there, and the media says, look how outlandish they are. So it's designed, it's basically, it's a prejudiced carnage system. And so that's why we do social media. That's why we're talking right now on Facebook and on Twitter, and just sharing it while you're speaking to LinkedIn and anywhere else we can get this information out, because the mainstream media is owned by the meat and dairy industry and the pharmaceutical industry. If you look at the TV commercials, it's meat, dairy, pharmaceutical with an occasional car and insurance commercial thrown in. I mean, this is their bread and butter. Let's face it, they're not going to report on it except if it's in a sensational fashion. And that's a shame, but that's why we consumers have to wake up and we have to make our own decisions and realize, as Dr. Silas Rao said, they're factory farming us too. Those people who think we're somehow outside the mainstream, let's face it, 1 out of every 4 people in the United States, and I'm sure it's similar in Canada, dies of heart disease. It's the leading killer when we didn't have COVID-19. Processed meat is officially cancer causing. All those pills that they sell people, billions and billions of dollars, the industry, it wouldn't exist if people ate plant-based. So Regan Russell died, tragically run over by a truck carrying pigs, but a lot of other people are being killed. Now slaughterhouses in general are becoming hotbeds of COVID-19. Thousands of slaughterhouse workers are becoming sick, and some have died. So the death toll is mounting. As many people say, slaughterhouses are slaughterhouses for people too, in the end. And the impact of animal agriculture on climate change, on habitat destruction, on wildlife extinction, on human world hunger, because it's the most inefficient food source. You know, we can say these things over and over again, but the ultimate way to pay tribute to this heroic woman, Regan Russell, who died doing what she always did, giving water and love to pigs and holding signs like this one that says, if you were in this truck, we would be here for you too. The ultimate way to show tribute to this hero is to go vegan. And we have a new campaign, Go Vegan for Regan. That is the hashtag. I should put it up right now. And there's also a song that is being an anthem in honor of Regan Russell that is being produced as we speak. So I just want to say my heart goes out to her family. We will stay on top of this story. I want to thank Ray Kowalczyk for all of his incredible work for this movement, for Jane Unchained. I want to thank Anita Krajnc, my personal hero, a woman who I think is absolutely brilliant, who has created this movement and who's fighting for justice every single day, and every activist who attends these vigils. So thank you so much. And once again, this is the breaking news. Police conclude no criminal offense in the killing of vegan activist Regan Russell. There is outrage over that decision and the demand by the Save movement to release the video footage. There was video footage of the entire incident, and the Save movement is demanding it be released by police. Thank you so much, and we will keep you posted on this story.
Thank you, Jane.